Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is also sponsored by High Point Access. Thank you to them for their support. They are your number one stop shop for all your working at heights and roofing needs. If you mention the Blades Ramble when booking any works with them, you'll also get 10% off. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is 90 after 90. This is old school 90 after 90. We're going to do a up to 90 minutes. Depends how long we go for. I'll try and get through all the comments. I'll get through the callers as I can. But yeah, we'll go up to 90 minutes as a full show tonight because we need to have a hard out at 7:30. We're jumping over to Behind the Ramble. We're going to do a watch along of this 7:45 kickoff. Myself and Jord Motson will be there on Behind the Ramble to watch Leeds versus Mill. Come on the wall. Oh, never thought I'd say that, and I won't be saying it later in the season, will I? But yeah, well, and that's on the back of United yesterday dropping 2 points. I mean, you can look at it any way you want. A point gained. I look at it as 2 points dropped because we were 3 points up going into the 90th minute. I came on last night for it was supposed to be an instant match reaction live from Bramall Lane. Didn't quite happen like that. I tried. The lighting was awful. It's a bit awkward walking away in a huge crowd and still talking to... I'm not one of them that does very well. So fair play to all the vloggers, all those that do things like Ramble on the Road. Shout out to Kieran who did our latest Ramble on the Road, another really strong episode. So thank you to everybody that's done those so far. One of my favourite things that we're doing, and it's the Ramblers that are making that series what it is. So thank you to Kieran for that. But I am useless. Turns out I'm useless at that. I'm much better sat down in one spot, rambling and just talking and going off on a tangent with different things, different subjects and what have you. So there's plenty to talk about last night. I came on last night, as I say, and I waited till I dropped my dad off, came home. I didn't really think about what I was going to say, and I just came on, and I were a little bit uncharacteristically short of words for performance yesterday because I didn't want to say something too outlandish because I'm a very emotional fan, as you probably know. I sometimes get a bit of chance to collect myself before I come on and give you me honest thoughts. I'll never not give you me honest thoughts about it, and that will lead into tonight, really, and it may be quite divisive tonight from myself because I'm one person with one opinion, but I'm going to give you my opinion as well. There was some good last night. There was some bad and there were definitely some ugly last night. First thing I'm going to go straight in with, bang, Jack Robinson. Jack Robinson is not my captain. There's loads of things that feed into this. It's not just his performance on the pitch either, and I don't want this to be my witch hunt against him, but I am so far past the point of seeing how he is seen to be even level with Anel and Holding. You saw Rob Holding come in last night and absolutely bossed it. That is the difference. That is the difference between a quality centre-half like Harry Souttar was for us. Rob Holding came in and managed that game. If you closed your eyes, he was the captain last night, weren't he? Rob Holding talking to Sariki, talking to Raksaki, who haven't got a clue sometimes defensively about what to do. And that includes Sariki. He was a young player trying to learn the game. Raksaki, no track back here, like we've talked about before, doesn't know where he needs to be. Sariki leaves his man, he's too distant, tucks inside way too much. They then love peeling out and hogging the line so that they can always get the out ball, which was happening frequently last night. Sariki's going to be a fantastic player for us, but there is a lot to learn there. And we switched it around, put Chowdhury back there, because Chowdhury in centre midfield, we all, me included, and I was a big proponent of Chowdhury coming in, and I still am. I think he's a good player for us. But he was so deep last night. so deep that they overran us in centre midfield. Sidney Peck looked leggy, looked like he'd not run his race, but it may be a game too far in quick succession. But we are lacking now in options a little bit in the centre. No Tom Davies. Vinny Sousa's clearly injured. Gus Hamer is still not 100% fit, clearly, otherwise he'd have started the game. Or was it just half an eye on the derby? Not entirely sure. But Jack Robinson last night, not just, I mean, you could pick fault with him for the goal, and I'll show you why. Because he's the man playing the Mark Sykes onside. Everybody else has stepped up. Chowdhury is the second deep man, which tells you exactly what you need to know about his positional sense and things like that, because he's playing right back at this point, but wow. Jack Robinson, if Jack Robinson is a yard further forward in line with the rest of the defence, that through ball is offside and there's no goal. So that is one element of Jack Robinson's game that I'm picking up on tonight already. Is belly-to-belly suplex, or whatever you call it, on the Bristol City man, how he's not got away. So what we've done leading up to this game is we've rested an L. That's clear. I mean, Wilder denied this, but in my opinion, that's what we've done. We've rested an L who was on 9 yellow cards, and we've rested him so that he is still an option for us, and it might still be an option because Rob Holding played really well. So, in my opinion, you can't take Rob Holding out of this team. You know what my opinion is on centre halves. Anel were rested because if he picked up a booking in this game, he misses 2 games, 2 big games. Wednesday away and Coventry at home, 2 huge games in the promotion race for us. We couldn't afford to lose him. Jack Robinson, since Harry Souttar's got out of the team, any coincidence with shipping goals, by the way, but since Jack Robinson's come into the side, he's kept his place. And Wilder's praised him and Wilder's backed him and he's our captain. Wilder's got to do that. He's got to praise him and back him. I understand all of that. But he's a gnat's hair away, or a VAR decision, if we'd have been in the league higher, he's sent off all day long for that. He's sent off because it's unnecessary. And then he gets him in headlock. So our whole strategy has been built around protecting centre defenders for the games to come, because we've only got 3. If you include Jack Robinson as one, we've got 3. And he puts himself at risk of a straight red card and a 3-game ban. So we're going with Rob Holding and Anel. Don't get me wrong, that is my pairing. 100% that's my pairing. But you're still running a risk having only 2 players able to play. And otherwise, it's Jamal Baptiste, isn't it? Who I think we can widely acknowledge isn't a top-end championship player at this moment in time. Who's to say he's not going to be? Same as Femi Siriki is not a top-level right-back at this time in the championship. He's going to be fantastic, hopefully, if his development continues the way it has. He's brilliant going forward, and he catches the eye. That's why a lot of people like him, because you can see how what he brings to the team when he's going forward with the ball. It's Jayden Bogle syndrome. It is Jayden Bogle. He's gone to the Jayden Bogle school of defending. And that is average defender. Very good attacker, average defender. Man Mountain's made a case for him previously. Try him on the wing, because he is talented enough to play that position. He can make things happen in the final third, but that's not a right back's priority. That's not predominantly what you want a right back for. You look at Harrison Burrows. Great going forward again. Fantastic set piece, man. Can get down the line and whip a cross in. That's great. Scored a few goals for us this season. It's not what you expect from your left back or your full backs even, but it's a lovely bonus because Harrison Burrows is also a good defender. He's not the best, don't get me wrong, and I think he's got to work on his defensive game at times, but he's a lot more competent and certainly championship ready. I don't think Femi is. And this isn't digging Femi out, by the way. It sounds like it, but we've got a problem at right back at the minute. Gilchrist is out, who is probably our best right back. He had a couple of bad games and deservedly got dropped at the time. But it's fallen so difficult for him. We've clearly panicked. All right, that's my impression. Harry Clark's come in on loan. We've now got 6 loans, so one of them has to sit out of the squad every time. It's in a back to front way. the fact that one of them's never been available at this, or very rarely available at the same time, because one of them's usually injured, that's kind of worked in our favour. So it doesn't look like we're being completely unreasonable. But anyway, Harry Clark and Alfie Gilchrist allegedly are in contention. Allegedly, and I say that because it's a Chris Wilder media update. And again, I don't hold anything against Wilder for being cloak and dagger with it. Allegedly, may be in contention for the weekend. If that's the case, that's great. But tonight, and I'll cover that on the warm up. We're doing the warm up tomorrow night with Wednesday Till I Die podcast. That's George's cousin actually that does that. So George's going to come on and probably referee between the two of us as we sort of prepare for the huge derby game on Sunday. But for now, we're going to concentrate and we're going to put to bed this Bristol City game. We're going to get out all our frustrations like I'm just sort of doing at the moment. Don't plan what I'm going to say when I come on. I just go with it. And apologies if I'm offending anybody with my anti-Robbo rhetoric. And it's nothing personal against Jack Robinson. Nothing that we say on this channel or anywhere like this is personal. It just it wears thin when you see gaps in his game frequently, and there's no change. There's no acceptance. People think that because he slams into somebody and he tackles one of their young Asian winger, sends him, 3 feet up in air, gets a huge cheer. I love a tackle as much as the next man. But that cannot buy you enough favour to keep out a Premier League defender. It can't, because then when you are the one that loses concentration in the 91st minute, all is forgiven because you'd kicked somebody up in air 10 minutes before. Anyway, I'm going to get into some comments, calm myself down, and then I'll get into some callers. So, right, 2 starts us off tonight. Aragorn says, all right, Jim, as a Leeds fan, I think the Millwall game could define our season. A loss and its playoffs, in my opinion. Oh, are you kidding? You're still second with a loss. A draw, depending on the manner of it, wouldn't be the worst result against our bogey team. Win is vital. I think Leeds win tonight. We'll see what we're going to be on Behind the Ramble, like I say with George, but we'll see, pal. Grumpy Jack now. He's no longer positive Jack. He's back to being Scrumpy Jack. Good evening, Jimmy. Early comment. If Leeds didn't lose, I would have taken a point. If Leeds didn't lose, I would have taken a point, but we had the golden opportunity to put pressure on Leeds and move away from Burnley. So it's a big opportunity missed. Yes, the position in the league is amazing, but we're allowed to expect more, and we should. We are seeing mediocre performances and then sitting back on a 1-0 lead. Sunday is going to be harder now. Okay, right. I have given my blast initially. My sort of negative vibes are out there now because it's quite cathartic. We've talked about this before when we're going through frustrating little periods, and that's all they've been this season. Very small, short periods. It was just disappointing last night. I also have to focus on the positives as well and give balance, because that's what we're about, isn't it? Some people will agree with Jack. Some people will agree with me on certain things. Some people will think I'm being completely unrealistic and over the top about how disappointed I am. I think it's just the fact that it was a sucker punch in the last minute. That's the first thing I need to say, because Bristol City were very much value for a point yesterday. They are a good team. Would not surprise me at all if they end up in the playoffs. They've still got to play Burnley and I think Leeds as well. So more power to them, and let's hope they continue that form if that's the way they're going to play going forward, because they gave us a real game yesterday. We didn't take our chances. I don't know how Raksaki missed that chance where it was amazing football to create the chance. I don't know how he missed. It was in the middle of the goal, 6 yards out, and he's missed it. That's by the by. But also, trying to be positive. Another positive I thought was Ryan Brewster. He has got a lot of stick on this channel, not necessarily from myself, but I can't say I rate him because I don't. But he played really well, I thought, yesterday when he came. Not really well, but in context of the game, he's not doing much wrong at the minute. So for somebody who's regularly scapegoated, we have to acknowledge that Ryan Brewster has done well in the last few. I certainly do acknowledge that anyway. But overall, taking a step back, it's a point against a very difficult side to play. Burnley were also at home and dropped points, if you want to call it that. They certainly didn't gain on us. So there's no ground lost to third place, which ultimately is the thing that we're trying to avoid. We are trying to stay in those top 2 automatic positions. We're also battling fitness issues now, again, with our best players. We had in the starting lineup yesterday, there was obviously no Harry Souttar, no Ollie Arblaster, which goes without saying, but doesn't get mentioned enough, I don't think. We had no Anel, we had no Hamer, and we had no Vinny Souza. Now, everybody's saying Vinny Souza was the huge miss, and I agree with that to a degree. But also, first half against Preston, I didn't think he were great either. So he has to be on his game to play well and affect the game like he has done most of the season. But those 3 players who likely will leave the club, and they're the 3 that we've been talking about, isn't it? They're the 3 that are our spine, really, to a large extent. I think they will leave the club if we're not promoted. They are valuable, so valuable to us. Obviously, we brought Gus Hamer on, and I thought when Gus Hamer came on, he elevated us and he made a difference. Anel came on for holding, which was disappointing. I understood it. In hindsight, people have said he started to get cramp and stuff like that on 75 minutes. I didn't see that, if I'm honest. But I take what they say in terms of it being a fitness concern. But we didn't start our best team. So maybe there was half an eye on the Derby game there. It's still a great result. We are battling with these fitness issues. I hope to goodness that Vinny Souza can play on Sunday. I'm not hopeful. He wasn't in the squad. Tom Cannon wasn't in the squad at all. And another impact ankle injury, I think Wilder was saying. So, yeah, there's some concerns there. But I thought I best balance that out, actually, while Jack sort of jumped on my similar rhetoric. It's not just going to be a negative thing. I have to try and acknowledge and get my head around the fact that we're in an amazing position. We actually went top of the league last night, and I am coming on and moaning. So what is that about? What is that? Give the head a wobble. Because, yes, we could have taken a greater advantage. If we'd have equalised in the last minute rather than conceded in the last minute, it's a completely different story, isn't it? And we are buzzing because we've gone top of the league. So sometimes there has to be perspective, and certainly I include myself in that. Jimmy says, we should have learned by now that we cannot see games out by defending. Bristol had far too much of the play and deserved their point. Leeds should win tonight. It's QPR game that may go our way up the Ramble. Ev says, evening, Jimmy. We definitely weren't at the races yesterday. However, in my opinion, we played well in patches. I think we've got to give a lot of credit to how Bristol City played and thought overall they were the better team. A point isn't the worst, and we have to move on. Some huge games coming up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. I thought they didn't have the greatest threat up top. I thought we were always the more likely to score. Having said that, Sinclair Armstrong's header and Michael Cooper's save, absolutely incredible. Thoughts on the 40 penalty shouts at the end, Jim? Apologies if you've already gone over this, but I think there's a clear contact on Burrows. However, he's looking for it. Wilder said in his post-match it wasn't a pen. I can see it go if it gets given. I think if it's the way I look at penalty decisions now is think about if VAR was involved, and I hate that in itself, but I think it's the easiest way to call a penalty now. So if that's given on Burrows, I don't think it's overturned by VAR. So in that respect, I'm not surprised if it's given. Also, it wasn't given, and I don't think VAR would overturn that either. So I think it's a genuine 50-50 call that they trust the referee on. Wilder said it wasn't, so I don't think we can complain. I don't think Bristol City could complain much, though, if it had have been given. It looked like it. I think it was Brereton Diaz. I haven't watched all the highlights back yet, but it looked like it was Brereton Diaz who were massively taken out off his feet at one stage in the box, and that was the one I thought was a pen. But as I say, I haven't watched it back ever, to be fair. Just, I can't. I'm a little child when it comes to disappointing results, even though in the grand scheme of things, this is a draw against a good team. But just the way it came about, I'm like a child. I can't watch games back if it's not been successful for us. Joe says, I've got a couple of points to make, Jim. First of all, Rob Holding was immense, and I look forward to seeing him and Anel, hopefully. Hopefully, pal. I'm not sure it'll happen, if I'm honest. Raksaki needs to track back him more. If he left Femi very exposed last night. I agree with that. Finally, the atmosphere. It's like a funeral at Bramall Lane recently. Yes, it works hand in hand with the performance, but surely a good atmosphere will urge the lads on more. Don't think it's a shocking point, as Bristol are a good side, made more valuable as Burnley also dropped points up them Blades. Well said, Joe. Some good points there, pal. Chris says it's gone now. 3 points, United. Please don't let us down. Sausage roll. Oh, it's a huge game, isn't it? Joe says that played out like it did because of the midfield battle. Their double pivot controlled the game better than ours. Saying that, we had plenty of chances to win that. Let's hope Leeds slip up the Blades. Matthew says, I'm still hurting from last night. So gutted. A big chance to move away from Burnley. Burnley slip up. Not many of them will come around. Had to take advantage when we can. Derby might be a must-win now. I think it is a must-win. I think the Derby game on Sunday is a must-win. Joe says, move on to Sunday and let's hope we ain't coming out of that saying we've missed a chance to open up a gap. One last push before the international break. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Matthew says, our midfield was so deep. Peck looks tired. Robinson, my God, please get rid. If we keep sitting in, sorry, we're not going to get the top two playing like this. We've got to be on the front foot. Holding was so good last night. Ian says, evening, Jimmy. Full night of rambling. Just what the doctor ordered. Thank you, pal. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. And a big shout out to Cooper, says Matthew. He got us that point last night. Without him, we lose that game. Just thought Wilder's playing mind games with Sousa. And he'll be okay for Sunday, please, God. Can't see it, pal. Can't see it. Heard a lot of people saying that's a point gained. Sorry, no way. 1-0 going into the 90th minute. I know we played awful, but we were winning up to the 90th minute mark. It's a big 2 points drop. Is it the players dropping back or is it Wilder telling them to sit in? Excuse me. Because it does my head in. I was so angry last night. Calm down a bit now. Anyway, top of the league till 10-ish. I don't think it's Wilder telling them to drop in. I think it's a natural, maybe subconscious thing that they go within themselves a little bit. But Wilder, you could see from where I was, he was fuming, telling them to get up and get out. Dino says, okay, I blew a gasket last night, but I'm well fed up of us going in front and then sitting so deep that they're invited onto us. I am too, pal. Bristol are too good not to take advantage and ought to have won, too often. Up the Blades. One thing that came out of it is it's time for Holmes to step up. We were great first 10, second half, and then sat back again. Possession Bristol had and the way they ripped our right-hand side up. Yeah, they ripped us to pieces down that side, didn't they? They absolutely tore us apart. And through the middle, I thought, at times, just because of the positioning and lack of awareness. Does anyone think Robinson was so slow to block that shot? Turned like it was awful. Like I said before, he's no captain. I thought the captain calmed things down, have a good head on them. Not picking a fight with everyone. It's crazy. Please, Wilder, holding in an L from now on. Please, God. I'm not sure that'll happen, to be honest, Matt. I'm not sure it will. Holding, by the way, my phone thinks for me at times, says Dean. Andy says, Miss Sousa big time, but we had enough chances to win. Bristol worth the point, though, to be fair. Absolutely right, they were. Dino says it's time for Holding to step up. Holding to step up now. That was obvious. Very smart operator. Just wish the gaffer would go more attacking after we score. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe. I think if we go with Holding and Anel, we're levelled up in centre defence. And at this stage of the season, we've talked about it for so long that sentiment cannot become a part of it. Jack Robinson might have done a decent job for half a season, and decent is all I will give him. But if you've got two defenders that you know are going to be at least above average together, you have to go with it. You have to. It's crunch time. Phil says we can't go on playing as badly as we are. Burnley will hammer us, and so will likely the playoff teams. Wilder has proven against Borough and Leeds that there is an alternative. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Ray says, Rob Holding his class. He will no doubt keep the shirt. I hope so, Ray. Got a point, so did Burnley, so we're still in charge of our own destiny. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. I'm going to go to our first caller now because he's been waiting very patiently. It was actually here before me tonight. So, and I've been rambling on for 24 minutes. So welcome back to the Ramble. It's our Cornish blade. It's David. How's it going, pal?
Oh, sorry, mate. I was just going to have my tea.
How you doing, pal? You okay?
Yeah, I've calmed down from last night.
Oh, are you going to talk some sense into me, David? Because I went a little bit hard, I think, last night. And we need to have a bit of perspective, don't we, in terms of where we are?
I think we said on Hot Topic, didn't we, that we've won all these games 1-0.
Yeah.
And what's it going to be like if it comes back to bite us on the behind later on? It did.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, I just turned the chat off in the Ramble and went to bed.
I think I should have done. I think I should have done that as well.
I'm going to bed, and that was it.
Okay.
But, there's something else I needed to tell you. This is the third time I've been on.
Well done, mate. Well
And in
done.
that great soccer programme, here's my match ball.
Yes, Soccer AM, hat-trick ball. Nice.
Yeah. No, but, you know, being serious, it was a bad performance. I think my next door neighbour talked to me today and kept saying to me, what were you shouting last night? Get on the right, get on the right. Where's the middle? Where's the middle? Sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, it did.
Extra space on the right and extra space in the middle.
I know.
You know, I put it down to a one-off.
I hope so. I hope
You
so,
know,
David.
put it down to a one-off that, like you said, we got injuries. We've got to think about the injuries. Was Chris playing his usual mind games? You know, Vinny's going to be all right. He just failed the late fitness test.
I'm not sure. I don't believe him, but you know that, don't you? I've said that plenty of times. It worried me last night because there were gaps all over the field. I thought Siddy and Chowdhury didn't work together, and Chowdhury dropped way too deep, leaving Siddy a little bit exposed, who I thought was deep himself, but then they overran us in midfield. Yeah. I thought the right-hand side were a bit of a mess, to be honest, particularly out of possession.
At one point, it looked like the Alimo. They just kept coming.
And as soon as they spot a gap, they're not daft teams at this level. They will continue to hammer it. Every time Sariki was dragged inside, and then there was a huge gulf of space. So the left winger just hugged the line and sort of said, I'm out here. Find me. Come and find me. And they did. A lot of the time they did, and they got in down that left-hand side. Sariki then don't get close enough when he's defending. No. And again, I don't want to dig the lad out because he's only a young lad, but it was a gap for us that we were exposed in last night, and we've got some big games coming up. We can't afford to let that happen again.
Yeah, and you know, big ones this weekend, and they've got two flying wingers they can put in.
Yeah,
you know, I'm just worried.
I know I'm not going to ask you to pick the whole team, David, but with that in mind, who would you play like at right back next game?
I thought about this, and I thought maybe put a Nell out there, but it means putting Jack in. And
I think Jack will play. I think Jack will play. I don't want him to, but I think he will.
The only thing I can see is that if he plays Jack and he plays Holding, he's got to put a Nell at right back if we haven't got a fit right back.
Yeah.
You know, if we have a fit right back, then I would go Holding and an L on the left-hand side.
Yes, and maybe Gilchrist or somebody like that.
Gilchrist, if you can get in there, and you know, and I was thinking, oh, maybe Chowdhury can go in there, and then I thought, well, Vinny's not fit.
You might want Chowdhury in the middle. I know.
You know, and I mean, knowing Wilder, he could change it. He could put an L in.
He could. I hope it's a Nell and Holding. And I hope it's Gilchrist, but I think it'll be Chowdhury, and I think he'll go with Hamer and Peck in the middle, personally.
In the middle.
So we'll see.
He could surprise us all and go 3-5-2.
He could. Wilder would not. I don't think he will, but it wouldn't shock me if he switched it up completely, because he's done it before.
And then we'll wait for the meltdown then when he's gone back to 3-5-2, and you know. And people say,
right. It's a huge risk, isn't it? It's a huge risk. And I was saying the same last night. When Rob Holding came off, I didn't see much wrong with Rob Holding. I'm saying to my dad, this is a huge risk here, because if we concede now, he's going to get immeasurable amount of stick. And he's got some stick since that, because we did concede, but it's just one of them, isn't it?
We had the chances, Jimmy. We had the chances.
Yeah, we did.
You know, the Sariki, Desrak Sake. It bobbled up. If he'd have hit it first time, he'd probably got that. But he tried to take a touch and it bobbled up off his shin.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. And then the defender came in. But, you know, I mean, the two things that I like best was obviously Cooper's save. Oh. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, and it was.
The goal, the three substitutes, linking up. And Brewster actually plays a ball that gets through to somebody.
Who would have thought it?
But yeah, I agree with you, mate. You know, I don't want Jack Robinson to play. It's a big risk.
It feels like there's been a bit of a change in the fan base, I think, in terms of Jack Robinson over the last couple of games. And I don't want it to sound like a witch hunt against him, because we'll always back the players that are in our side. It's just, if we are serious about getting promoted this season, which obviously we are, you have to play your best team. And it's surely now obvious that Holding's a better player and Anel's a better player. So it's that's the way it is. And I think he had a big part to play in us conceding yesterday. I don't think he was the only one at fault by any means, but he was the one that did play the man on
TV last night that his arm was offside. If you looked at the picture, you can see the yellow shirt before Robbo, but
where does it start and stop in it?
Touching the score, mate. And I mean, the only team I would put Jack Robinson in at the moment is the Royal Ramble.
Yeah, he'd hold his own there, wouldn't he?
He would, yeah, definitely. Nobody would want to face him, would they, mate?
I were getting some bits signed yesterday, and a little plug for Marty Great behind us, because I took some of these, and Michael Cooper signed his, and he was like, "Oh, these are brilliant." Code BLADESRAMBLE at the checkout for everybody, by the way, on Marty Great's site, and you'll get yourself a free poster. But he's signing them thinking they're great, and I'm suddenly thinking, I hope Jack Robinson don't come down here and recognise us, because I'm in bother here. So
you're the one
away before he got there. So
no, but yeah, it was just like I said, we've said it. Somebody's gonna do this 1-0. We're gonna get caught, and then what we're gonna say. So
I know, mate.
It's gone now.
It's gone, and it.
Yeah, it's done.
Get it out of his system. We have a little bit of a disgruntlement about it, but look, we can put it right on Sunday, can't we? Very much so.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers
Hopefully
crossed.
we can, mate. All right,
David,
I will.
Thank you for your time, pal.
And I'm trying to get Ginster's Cornish pasties to sponsor you.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you. If anybody's watching from Ginster's, you're more than welcome. Spot on. Top man, David. Thank you, pal.
Cheers, Jimmy. Bye.
Bye-bye. Absolute Ramble royalties, David. Thank you very much for joining us, pal. Harry says, all right, Jim, I hope you're well. Annoyed at that performance, but it was more than overdue. Really didn't like Robinson's attitude at the end. He can't play on Sunday. On a positive note, Campbell and Holding were great. I agree. Rossi says, come on, Blades, keep calm. Back on the horse Sunday. It's all to play for the Ramble. Oh, all to play for up the Ramble, Jimmy. Come on, you Lions. Absolutely right. Come on, you Lions. Absolutely right. Luke says, hi, Jimmy, really deflated last night. If we won, we could be 4 points clear of Burnley, and the fact that hasn't happened lingers in my mind. A positive is the players realise you want to win. Is the players realise you won't win 1-0 every week. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not a lack of respect for the league, because I think it's more nerves is a strong way of saying it, but it's one of them things, isn't it? They need to kick on and get more than a goal every time, because you're always, no matter how well you're playing, you're always going to be susceptible to a sucker punch, and I don't even think it was a sucker punch last night. I thought it were deserved. Billy says, I think we've been due what happened last night for a while now with the way we sit back at 1-0. Can't let our heads drop now. Full focus on Sunday. I'm sure CW will get them right up for it, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man, Bill. Liam says, evening, pal. Hope you're well. Holding has to come in for Robinson on Sunday. And if Vinny is not fit, I would go Hamer and Peck in the middle. As Hamza and Peck didn't work, we have to bounce back on Sunday. Up all the Rambles. Please like and subscribe. I agree, pal. I agree with that. Grumpy Jack says, in my opinion, you can't dig out Robbo. We aren't willing to address the issue sitting back. Robbo dropped the points. They all did. He was the furthest one back, Jack. He was the only one playing him on side. But you're right. It's a collective mentality. So who leads the team on the field? Is it the captain? Not sure. I would have thought so. I'm hoping Clark or Alfie is back for the right back slot, as Hamza worries me. Yeah. Up all the Rambles. Please like and subscribe. I think he's our best fit option at the minute, Liam. Paul Donnelly says, didn't deserve anything from that game. United was shocking. If we get promoted, it'll be straight back down. Midfield's missing. Paul, come on, Paul. We're better than that. I'm going to get through a few more comments, then I'm going to bring my next guest on. Jack says, evening, Jimmy. Hope all is well. I thought with the lineup that we would be vulnerable on the right, and there was a few gaps there. I thought we'll get outrun, outworked in midfield. Ian likes the no track back. It doesn't, does it? It's so frustrating, particularly when you know you've got a vulnerable right back there as well who needs your help. So I think that played a big part in when didn't Brereton Diaz switch to the right, because he works back a lot more. He helps his fullback. He's certainly a forward-thinking player, but at least he works hard. You soon changed your tune beginning of the season. You loved Robinson. You are new. You are new. Because that was never, ever the case. Never the case. Find me something. I get stick because I'm always abusing Robinson. And I do go too far on him sometimes. I think that's because I never want it to cross the line between anybody getting it wrong. It's never personal. I just do not rate him as a top-end championship player. I may have loved Robinson's commitment in the Premier League. That's about it. That's about it. I strong objection, Walt. Don't change me tune. Don't change me tune on that. Jack says, point is a point. So if that's a positive, but if we drop back to 1-0, then things like yesterday are going to happen. Anyway, back to football heaven. Oh, nice, Walt. Nice. Okay. So you think we should just praise everybody and not... Oh, it does my head in stuff like that. Cooler King says, evening, Jimmy. Thought the penalty decisions were probably correct, although there were 4 shouts. None of them was a stonewaller. While they're quite conservative, you've got to risk it for a biscuit. Yeah, I think that's fair. Ian says, Walter, I think you're confused. If you think Jimmy was a fan of Robbo, he's not listening, pal. He's gone back to football heaven. Fair dues. Jack Robinson reminds me of Liam Cooper for us. Says Connor was always a liability, such a good servant of the club. I never wanted to go in too hard on him, but just not good enough. Completely agree. Liam Cooper played above himself for ages for Leeds, didn't he? And even then he was still suspect. Robbo is under fire here. Don't say where you sit on this stream, Jimmy lad. Up the Blades, up the full-time Ramble. Walt, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look, I never want to dig out anybody. I want anybody to have their own opinions on stuff. But this is ludicrous. You're on about my opinion now, so I can tell you exactly what it is. Never been that. Never been that. Unreal. Mark says, perspective needed. Burnley, no ground. Leeds ain't the issue for me. They still win by 10 points. Too many not at it for me. And if Vinny doesn't play, I don't see us getting out on Sunday. Whoa. Nigel says, evening, Jimmy. Still disappointed with last night. It's not that we got a point. A point is good against Bristol City, but I'm naffed about the performance. It's getting too frequent now. Robbo needs dropping. So holding an L for me. Also, up the Blades, up the Ramble, up Behind the Ramble, like and subscribe. Jack says we should not be picking on Robbo when this isn't the issue. We sit back and got punished. The issue is more than Robbo. It's got to be addressed at our lack of ruthlessness and sitting back. Mark says, can't jump on tonight due to childcare issues. Half glad as I can't be doing with Robbo slagging. Still won games with Robbo in the team. Not as many, though. Where some have gone off, you'd have thought we'd been pumped 4-0. Mark, I love your loyalty towards him, and I have no issue with anybody having a different opinion to me. But can you honestly tell me that you think he is a better defender than Rob Holding or Anel Ahmedhodzic? And if you can, then that's absolutely fine. And it's just a difference in opinion. We have got to play our best team. And if he is at fault for anything to do with us conceding, and we already acknowledge that he's not up there with our best players, why is he in the team? Joe says, Jimmy come in with receipts and no one can argue any of it. Has to be an Ellen Holding. It's not about being right, Joe. Honestly, pal. I never want to come on and say, I told you he's crap. Told you, because he's not crap. That's first thing to say, innit? But I told you we should have been playing different players to him, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. I wish I were wrong. I'd much rather he were one with, goal saving, block tackle. I wish he'd have stepped up last night and played him offside, and then we'd have got the 3 points. All these sort of little things. I'd rather be wrong. Those daft WWE moves will punish us one day, then people will see the light soon. Not captain-like behaviour. I completely agree. Completely agree. Okay, so I'm going to bring our next caller in. And you all know and love him. Not quite as much as me, maybe, but you certainly know who he is. It is.
This is the view from the mountain, with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man mountain, strong and true. What a man, what a view.
Miller, man, what have you? How's it going, pal?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're still
It's fine.
top, aren't we?
Fine.
Are we top, or are we like 20th in the league yet? What's going on? Are we still top?
Yes, we are, mate. We are. And I need some perspective. I just got a little bit defensive there with somebody trying to say that I've always been a lover of Jack Robinson.
Yeah, you had a right nibble on that. That was class.
Mate, honestly. When has that ever happened? When has that ever happened?
Well, I have to agree with him. I remember you telling me about,
you're such a wind-up. You are. No, I'm not.
No, you were telling us about how you love his tackles and his commitment, and you know, he said if you were doing a tag team wrestling match, he'd be your
yeah, that's right. That's right. But if I'm doing a centre half partnership,
player of the season, Jim, that's why we all loved him, wasn't it? That's the thing. Player of the season.
You talk to me, mate. You talk some sense into me, pal.
Yeah, well, I think forever and ever, us Blades will always be just retrospectively, you know, we are spot on, aren't we? Because if we hadn't tried to shut the shop last night, and he'd have brought on another forward and gone for the jugular and gone for the 2 and the 3, and we lost 2-1, you'd be like, "What's he doing? He needs to bring one at the back and shore it up with him coming up doing this." And it's like, you can't keep doing that. We've won so many games by the odd goal this season. I just don't feel like we always need to scapegoat our players in matches that we are not. We're equipped to go close to getting promoted. We've got players that can do that. We are not equipped to go on the field time after time and knock teams about like they don't exist. Like this league is just pony, and we are just on a different planet.
Agree. Completely agree.
We are not. We've got to get that into his heads.
So the fine margins you've got to go with, haven't you? So if you think that Holding and Anel are better players than Robinson, surely that's what you do to get that fine margin up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honest thoughts on Jackie Robinson.
Okay, right. So Robinson didn't have his best game, but he has had good games. And in the last 10 matches, you could probably point to, we know what we're getting with him. Okay. We sort of kind of know what we're getting from most of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time that has been good enough to get us over the line in matches. And I know you don't like that, but it has. And Holt the other day, the other night, said, This is me. You've given me my chance from the start. We've been saying it for quite a few weeks. We thought it could have happened before. It's happened last night. I'm with you. He's a touch of class, and it was, and he showed that last night. He showed the composure and the calmness that we wanted him to show, and he did a really, really good job. Okay, and we do not recognise that the other team ever play well and like force us into.
Yes, they did play well. They did play well.
We think it's all about us, and if we play to our potential, we're going to win. It doesn't always work like that. And in a game against another team in this league, who are going like we said, Bristol, they're a little bit under the radar, as it were, for the playoffs, aren't they? They're not really anybody's. And when you start the season, you say, "Oh, well, these 6 or 7, 8 are going to be going for promotion, and they're going to go for the playoffs." You don't always think about that with Bristol. You think Bristol are going to be sat in the middle. These have been playing really, really well. And I thought they did play really, really well in the game last night. And I thought they had chances. Cooper's save was obviously outstanding. I thought we had chances as well. Were we at our best? No, I think Wilder was right. I think we were a little bit lethargic. I don't think we got up the pitch quick enough. I felt like bringing Kiefer Moore on, which again, we never know how much of these things are actually tactical, because we think that, well, Campbell's the best man. Me and you have been saying that for weeks and months. Campbell's our top man at the moment. He should be playing. I'm convinced that nearly all these lads that are getting brought off are being brought off for fitness reasons, because they're either carrying knocks or they're not quite fit to do the full 90 minutes. So that could be a different discussion, a different argument in itself. But when you bring Kiefer Moore on as your lone striker, and you can say, "Oh, I don't think Wilder changed anything." I saw Wilder stood on the side of the pitch doing 4-5-1 to the team when we were hanging on, and he brought on Sam McCallum, and he was dragging us backwards a little bit, and oh, there you go, there's the light change. I don't know what happened there, and what we were doing with Kiefer Moore, well, he doesn't offer us a lone striker threat. He doesn't offer us pace in behind. He doesn't stretch the defenders. And what that does is condenses them up the pitch, and it forces pressure on us to go backwards.
But he should be holding the ball up better, shouldn't he? And that,
Yeah, he should, but he should. But
it should stick when it goes up to Kiefer Moore and he holds the play up.
You can say that, Jim. But if he's surrounded and no one else is anywhere near him, we're not going to drop on any second balls. And who's he going to give the ball to? When you see strikers do that, they do that one time out of 5 because usually it gets gobbled up by the centre halves because the ball into him's not accurate or the touch isn't right or something like that. So I just feel like this changes kind of invited the pressure because I didn't see Kiefer Moore being able to stretch their team and drag them up back towards their own goal. I do not see how he brings that to the table, particularly when he's not match fit. He's clearly not match fit. He hasn't played any games, and that was my verdict on it. Brewster again was positive when he came on. I thought his ball in for the goal was superb, and it's that little bit of first time play, that little bit of quick thinking that did it for us. My issue with us, okay, and you've spoken about Femi Siriki being a little bit of a, almost playing right midfield when he should be playing at the right of a back 4. I don't believe we've got sufficient width in this team, and I think that with Bristol, what they did show in the left-hand side with Twine, who was quite impressive, I quite liked him.
He's a good player.
And Hirakawa on the other side. When they were one-on-one with our players, who have we got? Burton Diaz is not that kind of player. Okay, he's a left striker if you want.
He's an inside forward, isn't he? Yeah,
inside forward. He's not going to run past anybody. I think that's why he played Jez on the other side because he gives you that little bit of wing presence if you want, so he can get someone 1v1. He's about the only one that can in our team, really.
Even though he loves to cut inside or prefers to cut inside, doesn't he? Because he's a left-sider. But you're right, he does give us genuine width.
And I don't think we get. I think he's a modern player, but he doesn't deliver the ball. He's reluctant to cross the ball. If you're a forward like Kiefer Moore, he'd benefit from a. I know David. I say David Beckham. I don't think there's David Beckhams in this league. Don't get me wrong, but he'd benefit from somebody who'd get the ball out of their feet and cross the bloody ball. Okay, because actually we don't. Oh, again, I think it's the width, and I think when we're playing like we are. If you're going to play Siriki and Burrows, I actually believe you get the best out of them in a 5.
Yes, you do. Absolutely, you do. 3 at the back.
And I think if we want to utilise width, and I know Wednesday have got a bit of width as well, and they've got a couple of lads on the wing who are quite quick. It might just suit us to change that up a little bit. I haven't really been too overly impressed with Chowdhury for all that he is, and he's an energetic player, and I like his commitment in terms of putting a tackle in. He doesn't scream class to me. It's no surprise to me that Leicester have gone up and thought, in possession, this guy's probably not good enough to play in.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because I think he's shown signs earlier in his career that he did have the potential to do that, but he's not really shown it for us, has he?
He looks naive, mate. He looks like someone who's got a few technical attributes where he's quite wiry and he's quite agile, if you want, and that lends itself to quite a big advantage at this level. And he's, in that sense. But when he's on the ball and he's positioning, like people were saying, he wants to be playing in a team with 2 centre halves that split, and he drops in as the 3rd centre half almost when we're in possession. And his progressive passing doesn't exist. The only time we looked like we were getting through the thirds, because Peck I didn't think was on his game, was when Hamer dropped a little bit deeper when he came on and started threading balls through, and that's when we seemed to get a bit of rhythm to our play. But we do lack a lot of width, Jim, for me, and I think the only way we'll get that is if we played 3 and we pushed Femi and pushed Burrows on, because at the minute I don't think that right back issue, if you count Gilchrist as being an issue, has been solved really. With Clark, I think he's not too dissimilar to Femi in that he's great this way and not this way. So I think we're still scratching around for a solution there. I think if Femi's going to be the solution, I think you've almost got to split to a 3 at the back, and you've got to play Femi and Burrows a bit further up the field. Now, no problem with that. Burrows has got amazing quality. Femi's got pace that will scare the hell out of defenders, and I think Brereton Diaz on that left-hand side, for me, I almost think we might be best employed playing 3 through the middle, which I agree with. I think what you just said with Peck and Hamer with O'Hare, then possibly 2 up front with Campbell and Brereton Diaz. For me, that could be the team that I might think, looking at the issues we've got in those wide areas, and we were quite exposed. They brought on Earthy and Mehmeti. Mehmeti's their top scorer this season on those two flanks as well.
Yeah.
And I think that fresh legs in those wide areas really helped them to pin us back a little bit.
I agree.
So I think that I think Holding has to play no matter what. As long as he's fit, he's got to play now. I think it could favour us to go into that. I know people are a bit adverse to the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2, however you want to do it. But with the players that we've got at the
Fits us, doesn't it? Fits us.
I don't think Diaz gives us enough as a left-sided or right-sided like wing man. He's almost like he needs to join in the middle, and I just think that really lacks width. Even when he plays on the right and Hamer on the left, neither of them are wingers. Neither of them are going outside. Neither of them are isolating people 1v1.
Brereton Diaz is a powerful ball carrier, but he's not really somebody that takes on his man. So he's decent if he's chasing a through ball, or you'd fancy him to get the right side of a defender and maybe get a shot away, but you wouldn't fancy him facing up to a defender in front of him, would you? And running at him. So
I think him and Campbell could be formidable in that kind of it. So when we haven't got possession, they are both smart runners, and we saw it again. We've said it. We keep saying it. Keep banging this drum for Campbell. His runs when we've got the ball in midfield, he just goes, "I'm going here. Give me that ball," and it works. And I think Diaz is a little bit similar, just obviously, but he's trying to hug a bit wider and trying to join in on a diag. But I think with the two of them, it could be gold. It could. I
agree,
really
mate.
feel like that.
I agree. It excites me to think about using players in their best positions, because it feels like for so long we've just used good players to get them on the pitch. Gus Hamer's not a left-sided forward. We know that. We all know. Wilder knows that. We're not telling him anything he don't know. Brereton Diaz might be better inside. Absolutely right. It might be. Femi Sariki's a wing-back. He's not a right-back. He's a wing-back. So, and Harrison Burrows can certainly do the job of a wing-back. Having Jack Robinson as a left centre half moves him slightly away from the danger area for me a little bit as well. So he's not as, and he's got more cover in Anel on the right side, Holding in the middle to control it, be the Egan if you like, control everything. You go, you stay, all this, because he's our captain on the field at the moment for me. But I like it. I like the 3-5-2 for the players we've got fit and available at the moment. Raksaki drops out for me. Tyrese Campbell, if he's fit, to have a partner up top and O'Hare still buzzing around him as well.
He's fit, mate. When he came off, he looked annoyed at coming. I think he wanted to get on. Yeah. So when he trudged off, you could tell he was a bit like, yeah, I've gone down, but I'm not done. I think there's a narrative at the club that he can't do more than 70 minutes, and I think he's trying to prove different. To be honest, he didn't look delighted. And
you won't be though when you're top scorer in banging form. You won't want to come off, would you?
No. I think, mate, I don't think there's any issue there. I think the good thing that came out of it was Brewster was positive when he came on. I think he's looked bright off the bench in the last few games. So give him a little bit of credit there, because
absolutely,
I think without his input, obviously we wouldn't have got that goal. I think we're always a bit sore. Last night it was hard work listening to people venting, if you know what I mean, because it's an emotional game. No one likes conceding in the last minute. You said it yourself. I think conceding in the last minute, it's always a bit of a kick in the teeth. But actually, we probably nicked 3 at their place in the last minute, where we might not necessarily have deserved it. So it swings and roundabouts. We have scored quite a few late goals this season, and yeah, it's part of the game, isn't it? It's very annoying, like you say, because we're all just already looking at the table. I just think we've got to be a little bit more middling, because we've benefited this season in particular. We're not getting flogged every week like we were in the Premier League. We win the majority of our games, and I just think,
mate, absolutely,
as a fan base, we've got to accept. Yeah, I think we are a bit, like I said before, we are a bit better than some teams in this. The majority of the teams in this league. We're not better to the point where we're going to absolutely smash the hell out of everybody every time. And one thing you've learned about our players is this season, like City Peck's performance, we've been waxing lyrical. You know, when he's doing the business, he's absolutely amazing. If he was amazing like that every week, he'd be down the road in the summer, because he'd be on a different planet. Well, we've got lots of players who are good who are good, who are consistently decent, and then we've got outstanding games that they have and stuff like that. But that's why they're Championship footballers. You know, we were digging out Gusamo, who's been our best player by lots of people's money, along with Vinny. But the other day when he came on, what's he playing in for? You know, it's
and he makes a big difference, doesn't he, when he comes on yesterday? So.
Yeah, he's more consistently doing things that are affecting our results than most other players. So but he's not fully consistent, because if he was doing that over and over and over again, he'd be playing for Tottenham or something, wouldn't he? So it's a different. It's the league we're in and it's where we are. But I think. I think we don't have to just always think, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. I thought Bristol were good, and I think we just got to get our heads around the fact that we're not just going to steamroll every single team that turns up, because it's not how it works.
No, I love it, mate. I love that you always come on and talk such sense, and I think you give me a lot of perspective on the point where I knew I needed to get to, and I would have got there eventually. But sometimes we just need a reminder, don't we? Because I do get very emotionally caught up. And like a lot of fans do.
Join the club. I was seething. I was seething. Listen, I used to be a lot like that. I've had tears at Wembley, and I look back now and think, what are you crying for? It's a game of footy. Do you know what I mean? There's much bigger issues going on.
Yeah.
And it, I've been upset, but
it's hard, don't it, sometimes, to keep that perspective. And it's good that we've got mates like you to come on and give us a heads a wobble when we need it.
Be dreading. We shouldn't be sat here, mate. Like, I don't like this narrative that we just dread these big games. They're big games and they're exciting games. This game at Hillsborough, I am really looking forward to sitting down and watching that game on Sunday. Really looking forward to it, because I don't really care what anyone says to me afterwards about it. I want us to win. I want us to play well. I want to be proud of being a Sheffield United supporter, and I'm sure I will, because whatever we don't get in performance, we do usually get in commitment, especially this season. So I'm quite looking forward to it, Jim. I don't think we have to dread every big game, because I feel like we've just turned into this team that are just, oh, what if we don't win? Oh God, the end of is. And I used to be so critical of people who are football fans. Oh well, if we win, it's fine. Everything's on an even keel, but if we lose, it's the end of the universe. We've drawn a game at home to a playoff rival or a promotion rival. It's not the end of the world. Let's just get, it's not.
I'm good now. I'm good.
It's not. Pompey have done Leeds, and look at the reaction. My gosh, the season they've had, they lose one game, and their heads are falling off. It's like, it's footy, mate. If the Championship was predictable, if the game was played on paper, we'd have just shut up shop straight away and gone, well, they've got the best team. They're going to win it. They're going to finish there. They're going to do that. That's not how the league works. That's why it's entertaining. Awesome. That's why it's a good league.
Nice one, mate. Thank you for that. Go on then. If you're not dreading Sunday, what's the score going to be on Sunday?
Well, do I have to stick to what I said before?
You do. No, you can go with what your gut tells you now.
Well, I always think we can win. I know in this league we can beat anybody, and certainly they'll be buzzing. They'll start believing again, and it's always the hope that kills you, Jim. After what is a terrific comeback at Norwich, you have to acknowledge that. Acknowledge Norwich.
Yeah, you do.
As a great result. They'll be up for it now, so they'll be telling us how we're going to get done and all this stuff and what have you. I'll be sat back watching, knowing that we've probably got 4 or 5 players that they haven't got, and we're probably a bit more likely to nick a victory, because that's what's happened this season. So I'm hopeful, mate. I think he's learning lessons. He's had his holding experiment. It paid off, and I think we've certainly. Why wouldn't we go in there thinking we're going to win this game? We've won more games than they have, more games than anybody else in this division. Just a note for the fans. We have won more matches than anybody else in this division.
Correct.
Anyone else, we've got the best away record in the division. Okay, let that sink in. So why wouldn't we turn up thinking, yeah, we've definitely got a sniff here, and more than a sniff.
This is why I love you coming on all the time. This is why you've got a free pass to come on whenever you want, because you talk so much.
Sorry, mate, I've ranted. I know I have ranted.
No, you aren't. You know.
But mate, if we straight away, my first thought was last night, Mate, we had a full-on smash and grab at their place. We nicked 3
we
points.
did. Yeah, we did.
From the jaws of one, we nicked 3. From the jaws of defeat, nearly, when Ryan only nods it in, we've nicked 3 points off them there, or at least, you know, we've
4
gone away
points
with
off Bristol City is a really good return this season, isn't it? Really good return.
Again, you offer it to us at the start. You offer us this position at the start. You offer us with 9 games to go to be top of the league. Yes, it might change tonight, but we are right in a title fight, and we should look forward to the games because this is what it's about. Is if you can't enjoy it when you're top, Jesus, when are you going to enjoy it? You know, next season could be absolutely torturous, but I just want to enjoy it while we're here, while we're doing it. You know,
love it, mate. Well, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it as always. And I'll catch up with you soon.
See you, pal. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
See you, Ramblers. Lots of love.
Mate.
This is the view from the mountain with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man, mountain strong and true. What a man, what a view.
Oh, thank you to my personal guidance counsellor for sorting my head out there a little bit. It always talks sense, in my opinion, and gives me that perspective that I need because I am generally a very positive fan, I think. I do get nervous before games. I'm not looking forward to the game on Sunday at all. And I was really frustrated yesterday. And a large part of that was the late goal. Undoubtedly, a large part of that was the late goal rather than just the fact that we drew. But then that sort of gets you frustrated about, you get fixated on things like this Jack Robinson thing really annoys me because I've been saying for a long time that I don't rate him as a top-end championship defender. Rob Holding steps in and shows that he's a class above, you know, a lot of people in this league, not just our defenders, but a really classy operator. And we know what an L can do. So it's frustrating to me that then Jack Robinson's involved in the goal that we concede, even if it were not fully his fault. I'm not suggesting it was, but that really irritates me. But I'm good. I'm good now after the man Mountain gave me his perspective on it. So thank you, pal. Mindful Horse has said, should have spent cannon money on Tanganga and Doyle. Now we're still lying. We would never have got both Doyle and Tanganga for 10 million quid. Not a chance. But Tanganga, there's a strong shout that we should have spent the cannon money on that. And that's not a dig at Cannon. That's a we are light in centre defence. However, we've now seen what Rob Holding can do. So we've got a very, very more than competent defender, haven't we, there? Jamie says, I got a ticket for Pigs away. I'm hoping for a win, but I can see a draw. Joe says, we can't keep saying Robbo should play because of his passion. His passion is giving away daft fouls and making awful decisions. We have to play the best players in their best positions. I agree. I agree with that. From what I've seen of Chowdhury, says Nige, we cannot sign him on a permanent. Couldn't tie Sousa's boots. He just looks lost and scared constantly. Missing Gilchrist at right back defensive. Definitely. Cooper was superb. Yes, he was. And to be honest, I agree. I'd have... Look, there's a long way to go. He's played half a dozen games for us as Hamza Chowdhury. But on last night's performance and a few other previous performances, he hasn't done enough to earn a permanent deal, has he? Yet. So I'm with you. And I'm a big Chowdhury supporter. As you know, I wanted him to come into the club. It's still very early days. I'm not... You know, he's played a lot more football than Cannon, and Cannon's been panned by a lot of people. But I don't think Chowdhury's quite shown us... high levels yet. Way down the game before the derby last time was Bristol City as well, says Lucas. Yeah, it's a bit. Jamie Hackney boy says, you got a wicked show, bro. Watch you all the time. You and Connor are jokes matching on together. Thank you, pal. I appreciate that. Big Tone says, I'm guessing that after the first 10 minutes that you don't want Robinson in the team. Wasn't it that obvious? I think we picked the wrong team last night. We play our best team last night. We win and go 5 points in front of Burnley. Maybe. Definitely want you guys to go up with Leeds. You and Connor's a good watch. Thank you, pal. Be careful, Jimmy. It might get some right hate like I did yesterday, says Nige. You've always got to be honest, though, Nige. I don't ever want to be seen as somebody who just comes on and pads things and says, we played well, but, hopefully, come on next time and all this. I wear me out on my sleeve like a lot of us. And I'll be honest. I'll always be honest with you. If we're having a pint in pub, I'll be saying the same thing to you. I'm just giving me honest opinion. Don't make me right at all. And this is why everybody's got the chance to come back and have their say. Man Mountain's just not completely disagreed with me, but sort of was saying that we can't pin it all on Robbo and all this. And I'm not pinning it all on Robbo, but you know, it's perspective, isn't it? Perspective. Rev says, so frustrating that we sit back after we score. There's no way that Wilder doesn't tell them to do that. We've done it too many times this season. It's not for it not to be an instruction. Ian says, Keith has been called up by Wales. Hope he doesn't come back injured again. Scott says, evening, Jim. I hope you're good, pal. Said it before, Robbo didn't get a sniff when Suter was here. Should be the same now. Holding's match fit. Again, nothing personal, but Holding is better. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Onto a positive. Campbell is playing fantastic at the moment. Really enjoying what he's doing. That touch, and I know I don't mean to dilute Brewster's involvement in the goal because it was Brewster that put him through. But I thought the touch that Campbell took to take it into his stride was unbelievable. The touch made the goal for me. The touch to knock it past the man, then it gave him a chance to have another little touch to set himself. You just knew he were going to score. As soon as he were past his man, you knew. It were brilliant. Really, really good. MW, the Leeds fan, clearly says we're all falling off a bit. We're always going to happen, weren't it? It's a test of nerves now. James says, can Anel fill in at right back now? We know holding his class if and when Sariki gets injured. Yeah, I think he could. I think he could. That were mentioned earlier, weren't it? David suggested that might be something to think about. I agree. Sarah says, do you think Wilder's just not seeing Robbo's flaws, Jimmy? Or do you think he picks him every week to play because he feels he doesn't have a choice? He could start holding or change formation. I don't know what it is, Sarah, in all honesty. I don't know. I'd have expected him to take him out of the team now. He hasn't been... Look, I don't want to completely change my tune and get blinded by a couple of bad performances and my previous preconceptions of him either. But he hasn't been terrible all season. I'm not saying he has. I don't want the narrative to be twisted. He's been okay. He's done enough. But we don't want that, do we? We want Harry Suter levels. We want Anel playing to his maximum levels because Anel hasn't been great all season. We want Rob Holding last night levels. That's what we want. And if you know you can get that out of other players, and then a 6 out of 10 every week isn't enough. A 6 or a 7 isn't enough for me. It needs to be 8s and 9s if you're going to get promoted. Holding must not be able to do the full 90 yet, says James. Maybe so, pal. Maybe so. Sarah says, no, Holding hasn't had the minutes, but after last night, I don't doubt he could do a great job for us. Completely agree. Would love to sign him permanently. Matt says, hi, Jimmy. We've got to stop sitting on these 1-0 leads and allowing teams to pile the pressure on. We're a good attacking side. I need to go and get the second and third and put the game to bed. Absolutely right. Wayne says the team have overachieved expectations, but now we've come to expect much more. And because displays haven't been good of late, people are getting jittery and quiet. Yeah, that's part of the atmosphere, isn't it? Let's have a look. Matthew says, Leeds fan, be calm. Top 2 go up. Bristol are good in possession, but no bite. Well, they had bite last night, didn't they, unfortunately for us. Lax Luther says, like many games before, we didn't deserve a win, but this time we didn't actually get it. Let's be honest, we've ridden our luck far too much this season, and if we go up, we'll have to count ourselves lucky. Interesting. I don't think you're far wrong, to be honest. I don't think we'll be lucky. I think we'll have earned it if we go up, but we are riding our luck in games, I think. James has hit the nail on the head there, Lax Luther. If Holding can't do the 90, says Jimmy, he should be coming on and seeing games out, not starting and having to go off like last night. Well, that's what he has been doing, Jimmy, to be fair, isn't it? Wilder's been bringing him on in tight games. Cooler King says, I get that it's still a point and that Burnley only got a point and that you went top of the table, but to ensure automatic promotion, the team has to start playing better for longer. I agree. Scott says, Sheffield United against Coventry has been picked to be on ITV. Right, okay. Well, I'll be there. That's good. One thing that annoyed me about last night, says Jake, is why bring Holding off for Anel? If we wanted to defend a 1-0, go to a back 5 for solidity, like we did the past 2 matches. Don't understand that decision. I think it was a Holding fitness thing, like some have been saying. Rai says, I watched the second half, Jimmy. Why do you boys sit back when you go 1-0 up? You could have killed that game off. Are you stoking the fires there, Rai? Because that is exactly what all of us are saying. Maury says, evening, Jimmy, mate. I dropped Robinson, put Anel and Holding together. Do you think Cooper could actually step up and be captain? Yeah, I'm not a huge goalkeeper as captain fan. I think Rob Holding's our captain. I know he's a lone player, but you look at the people that suit an armband. He's a class act. I can't say it enough. I have got your message as well, Maury. I will get back to you, pal. It's just been crazy today. So apologies. Yeah, I ain't got back to you yet, pal. I'm busy. Ricky says, I'm here, busy day as real worker, only joking, but we're top of the league. Both Burnley and Leeds drop points, 6 wins and a couple of draws will be there. There's no way Burnley will win 9 straight games. They don't need to win 9 straight, do they? They don't need to win 9 straight. No. Jack says, we see the majority of games out, but for the love of God, stop sitting back at 1-0. Get 2 or 3 up, then do it. Just finish a game off. Bob says, Jimmy, a new catchphrase for you. No Vinny, no Winnie. Not bad, that. Not bad. Once I get this merch sorted out, which we're working on, yeah, that might be a T-shirt. Burnley draw too many games. Keep saying Burnley will be around 94. Any better than that, we are up. Dublin Blade says, we blew an incredible chance to take a huge step forwards towards promotion yesterday by putting a 2-game advantage over Burnley. When we next play, we could be 3rd. Goes to show how poor. Even when Mr. Cool Cooper dropped one. Cooper dropped one? I'm not sure Cooper dropped one, did he? The only bright spots last night were Holding and TC. That's Tyrese Campbell, not Tony Curry, for anybody paying, or Tom Cannon, for anybody paying attention. Demon Asteria says, why is it now always Robinson's fault? First it was Rian. Now you've gone off blaming Rian to blame Robbo. Why not blame Kiefer for all his mistakes instead of backing him? It's just my opinion, pal, really. And that's what it's about, isn't it? So I don't think Robinson is... I'm not going to repeat myself time after time, but I've been pretty clear with what I think. And consistent, I would say, as well. And in terms of Kiefer, Kiefer's not playing well at the moment either, but he's been injured for a long time. He played injured for a long time. He didn't do great. Yes, I didn't think he was terrible either yesterday when he came on, but he didn't do great. But it's his first game back after injury, isn't it? So that's what I'd say to that. So, any news on Tom Davis? We could do with him back. He's not going to be back until, I think, after Coventry, Wilder said. I'd have to go and check my notes because he said it in one of the pressers. Paul says, if you think Hamer and Nell and Vinny will go if we don't go up, Cooper will be the first to go. It'll be harder Sunday than last night up the Ramble, up the Blades. Okay. Mr. V, absolutely incredible. Thank you, pal. Good evening, Jimmy. I'm not going to complain about last night because most teams in the division are decent, but please let's not sit back and absorb the pressure after going 1-0 up. It does my head in. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Very, very generous, Mr. V. Thank you so much for that, pal. I really appreciate it. Nice one, Mr. V, says Chris. Fair play, sir. Hope all is well, buddy, says Nige. I'm going to try and get through as many more comments as I can, but there have been lads waiting very patiently again for them to come in. So I'm going to first bring in Just United's own. It's Ricky. How's it going, pal? How's it? Oh, hang on, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's back. He's back. Just kidding, weren't you? Just kidding. How are you, pal?
Yeah. I'm all right. How about you?
Yes, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. How did you feel about the game last night? No
Flat.
swearing, remember?
Flat, depleted. They look tired, mate. They look tired, right? And how do I explain it? There were no running for second balls. We sat back. It's Chowdhury. I don't know. It looks like someone's prodding with a. Oh, got an elastic band and just keeps twanging him, mate. He's very erratic in his movements.
Yeah, he is.
I like it.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Sarike is not a starter. He is not a starter. He's good at coming on for the last half when players are tiring, when he can stretch players. You know what I mean? When they're tiring, he's not a starter. He's not ready for that. Formation's wrong for the players we've got. I said that all along. We bought players to fit the 3-5. What is it? The 5 at the back. What we used to play. Other than Raksaka and Callum O'Hare, who's he brought in? What's adaptable to the new formation? No one. You know what I mean? They're all adaptable to the old system.
Yeah, Burrows can play in a 4, can't he?
But yeah, but Burrows last season, his best season he's had of his career, left wing back.
Okay.
You've bought him. You've bought him as a left wing back. That's the position he's been scouted on. He's a left wing back. Do you know what I mean? He didn't play in the back 4 last season.
Okay.
So I don't know, mate. Only problem I've got if we do go back to a back 5 again is where's O'Hare playing because he's not a centre midfielder.
No, we'd have to play the old Championship formation and he'd be the Mark Duffy, wouldn't he? I think that's the way it'd have to go.
But thing what's irritating me, we've got arguably one of the best centre midfielders in Armour playing on left, and it's not him. I think you're nullifying his main skills. Do you know what I mean? His eye.
Yeah, when he went to middle yesterday, he was sort of conducting everything, weren't he?
Exactly. We've got no leaders in team at the moment, and Robbo, mate, Armstrong had him. I mean, he had him on toast, mate. It were right. So, this is your captain, yeah. This is your captain. What's supposed to show all youth players, all under 21s, how they should be, how to be a professional footballer. Spitting dummy out, shouting at Oldham because he's making mistakes. Right, Oldham's had to drop off his man to cover Armstrong because he can't cope with him. Do you know what I mean? So now that's leaving a gap for Surrey kids when too many are running in. Do you know what I mean? But people don't see this. They just see him lunging in for attack on his best player.
Hello.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
good tackle.
End of game. It's like, you know what, ref, right? Props to ref. I think he had a good game. Do you know what I mean? I think his decisions were right. I think all the fans kicking off at refs at end of game, it were out of order. That were us venting our frustration towards referees because the players didn't perform. Do you know what I mean? So we were clutching at straws and got a draw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fair result in it. In end, I think
we were lucky, mate. I think we were lucky. We had glimpses where we looked all right, but other than that, mate, like I said, we were flat and we were depleted and we looked tired. We had no oomph whatsoever, and I think we're lucky to get a draw, mate. We're just lucky they lacked that quality in our area just to finish the game off. We're lucky on that aspect.
They're a little bit too, obviously they got a quality goal, but they're a little bit toothless out there, which we have to be thankful for. Because I don't think, if they were a bit more clinical, then we could have been in trouble last night. So, okay, pal. What's coming up on Just United over the next few days?
So we've got Wednesday preview. Then obviously Yorkshire Roundup on Friday. But we're going to change times on that. I think we're going to start with 7 o'clock because I think 8:15 were a bit late last time. Okay. We moved it that late because we tried to accommodate other people and all that, but it didn't work out. So I think 7 o'clock will probably be the best option.
Nice one, pal. If anybody's not already, do check out Ricky's channel. It's Just United, covering all things Sheffield United. And we is Yorkshire Roundup, covering other teams across Yorkshire as well. So nice one, mate. Keep going and getting better every time, pal. So I'll speak to you soon. All right, buddy.
In a bit, mate. Have a good one.
Nice one, mate. Cheers, Rick. I'm going to go straight into my next caller now because we've got a hard out at 7:30 because we're going over to Behind the Ramble. So last caller of the evening is going to be the one, the only, Jamie Dumpling. How's it going, pal?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yourself?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I've calmed down. These are always quite cathartic for me, these sort of streams, when we've had a disappointing outcome. I won't necessarily say result, but just the way it came about. I like to talk my way through it with ramblers and comments and stuff like that. So I'm okay, mate. How are you?
Yeah, to be fair, they're a good team. They're 7th for a very good reason. This is not the Bristol City of old that has been, along with Preston, mid-table championship fodder.
He's done a really good job with him, hasn't he?
Yeah. Scott Twine, Mehmeti. I know Mehmeti were on bench. I don't know whether he came on or not.
He did. He did come on.
Did he come on? Still a good team. And you could tell by the way they played. I know we weren't great, but they looked good throughout the 90. They looked really good.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought they controlled large portions of the game, didn't they? Which is disappointing when we're the home team that wants to take the initiative. But we didn't. And sometimes you have an off game. I think Ricky's right. We looked a bit tired. Wilder had said the same in his post-match. Sometimes we played a weakened team as well, whether that was due to injuries or with half an eye on Sunday, I'm not sure. Maybe a bit of both.
It's midweek. What you've got to look at is Leeds at the minute. Their complaints from their fans is saying, we've got players on the bench that are out of form because we don't rotate enough. Our fans are saying, why are we not playing the best players? Why are we playing all these? So it's like, for God's sake.
You can never win, can you? You can never win. Man Mountain's put a really good case together now for going 3 at the back on Sunday. If Wilder goes 3 at the back on Sunday and changes the whole thing, we've got to top at league playing 4-2-3-1. If it don't work out on Sunday, even though I agree with Man Mountain, I think it'd be a really good idea to fit players in their ideal positions at the moment. He's going to get absolute pelters, is Wilder. Absolute pelters. So you can't win. You can't win.
I've seen people saying as well, oh yeah, why is Keith why is Kiefer Moore coming on who's not match fit? Last week, not even last week, Saturday, why is Tom Cannon coming on? Kiefer Moore to do the game better. For God's sakes, we're trying to defend a 1-0.
And how do you get match fit? How do you get match fit?
Same game situation. And last Saturday, we need someone big to defend and keep the ball held. This week, why is One not coming on stretch again? What? I'm sorry.
I know, mate. I know. I like your hoodie, by the way.
It's great hoodie. Great hoodie, comfy.
Looks well. Okay, mate. So, what do you think is going to happen on Sunday?
It's going to be. I can see it being 0-0. It's going to be a classic Steel City derby. To be fair, I've vented about Sky not playing it. I don't blame them. With the way that the games usually are, they're never great.
Why have I got you on after Man Mountain? I should have got Man Mountain on last to build everybody up. And you're just coming on and knocking everybody down now. Oh, it's going to be boring.
I'm the realist. I'm keeping things level-headed.
That's one word for you. That's one word. So, you think it's going to be a 0-0? Do you think he'll switch it up then with formation? Do you think there's a chance he does that?
Sorry about that. I've got family over. I don't think he'll change up. Hang on, I do apologise. I'm sorry.
It's all right, mate. I love it. I love it. Do you need to go, mate?
I do.
Okay. See you soon.
I'll say Luke Faxon, great play. I'll see you later.
See you soon, pal. See you in a bit. Jamie Dumpling. Humble, it never change. Never change. Mark says, hit the nail on the head, Jimmy. It's a sprint finish anyway now to end at stream. So I'll try and get as many comments in from people whose comment I haven't read yet. Hit the nail on the head, Jimmy says, Mark, Hamer and Peck in the middle. BBD, JRS out wide. O'Hare in the 10 and Campbell through the middle. Yeah, I might have had my mind changed actually since then. Joe says, Paul, I can't agree, mate. As much as Robbo has been good enough to get us through games, we've won with him in the team, but why not play someone better and make it a bit easier? Completely agree. Glenn says, why is everybody moaning who expected us to be top? We tend to play. God knows what it would be like if we were below the Wendy's. To be fair, Glenn, you're absolutely right. And it's perspective that we need, isn't it? Having said that, this is just frustration. Frustration after the manner of the draw last night. And I'm not going to repeat his name again, but you know my thoughts. What's up with Cannon? I think it's an ankle problem from what Wilder was saying. Brand says, just because Robinson puts in a crunching tackle that's good to watch, it doesn't mean he should play. He's one of the most inconsistent defenders in the league, holding his levels above him. I would love to know what other teams in the top 6 even does Jack Robinson get in? Because I don't think he gets in any of them personally. Evening, Jimmy. That was not a promotion-chasing team performance when you look at the stats. I don't know if the players have one eye on Sunday, but we can't afford to drop points, and this could cost us. Yeah, it could. David says, we were pushed back by a good Bristol City. I think they deserved a point, but I wish they hadn't. Zonny says, do we think Wilder is playing mind games regarding Vinny? Do we think he'll be in the team on Sunday? Could be. Could be. Maybe. Agree 100% with Man Mountain. Absolutely spot on, Jimmy. Looking forward to you and Motti on the Leeds game. Thank you, Sheila. We'll see you over there in just under 10 minutes. Fred says, Jimmy, it knocks out a range of emotions. Accepting that we might end up in the playoffs, but that might be what it is. What a ride. What a ride indeed, Fred. And I still maintain, even though it's not swung our way last night particularly, this league is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Rich says, we have 9 or 11 or 12 cup finals left this season while the Wendy's have 1. Let's just try to remember that, Jimmy, up all the rambles. Yeah, that's true. That's true. James says Jim Bob Rooney, so I immediately know where he's come from. It's been nearly 13 years since that other team in Sheffield beat United. That's got to make you feel good for Sunday. Ask me Sunday night. Arthur says, listening to this caller as a Leeds fan, I really hope Sheffield United get promoted. Humble Gee's a great team. Good luck. Thank you, Arthur. Appreciate that, pal. David Vinter says, first time grandkids at the Sty this Sunday. Looking forward to it. Keep positive. 3 points incoming up the Blades, up the Ramble. Ash Bennett says, top content, Jimmy. We, along with Leeds and Burnley, weren't good enough last time out. The pressure is getting to all. We go into the Piglets in a title run-in. Goodness me, everyone get behind them. Up the Ramble. Thank you, pal. Absolutely right. Avril says, evening Ramblers, hope we all cheered up a bit. After watching the highlights again, the goal we scored was pure quality. Yes, it was. And the Coop save was also beyond belief. Let's not get too down. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Maybe they had an eye on the big one at their lot on Sunday. Yeah, that annoys me though, Avril. You've got to focus on what's in front of you. But yes, you're right. We've shaken it off now. We're all right. We're doing okay. Big Mally says, hey up, Jimmy. The Lions are our bogey team. That, along with recent performances, I'm not overconfident of a result. We'll see, pal. We'll see. I think you'll do them tonight. I think us both stumbling a little bit last night, us and Burnley, I think that'll give you enough impetus to come back firing. Jimmy, how big a loss might Egan Riley be for Burnley? West Brom were much the better side in the first 35 to 40 minutes. Plus, they're starting to concede goals for the first time in 2025. Potentially huge. Burnley are also scoring goals now, aren't they? So there's been a huge shift at Burnley. So we'll see. We'll see. I do think they'll fall away, if I'm honest. I certainly hope so. Benjamin Baboom says, don't think some of our players are fit enough. Maybe so. Maybe so. Robbo's a bad leader, says Maury. Chris says season tickets out Friday for early birds. Yes, we'll be on that. I think we'll have a slight increase if I'm being completely honest about it. Always enjoy Dumplings cameos, says James. Absolutely right. Sometimes short and sweet, aren't they? But there you go. There you go. Fair play, Mr. V. Have some of that, says Chris. Top man. Dumplings Burger Bar. Wilder said Burrows' foul in the penalty area wasn't a penalty, but it looked a penalty to me. I can see why you'd give it. I can also see why you wouldn't give it. So one of them. Big Jeff not in the under-21s tonight. Maybe a cameo against the Pigs. Maybe Scott. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I'd still, to be honest, it's Wednesday. So I'd anticipate that even if he was being considered for Sunday, he might still have got 45 tonight. So I don't know, mate. Don't know. Jamie, that's a nice little private joke we've got there, isn't it? Sorry, but as I said, love Luke Faxon, great player. I didn't hear you say that on the thing, but yes, shout out Luke Faxon, great player. Chris cannot get us out of bed for big games, says Leaky Lloyd. Next season, every single game is a big game. If we go up, this is going to be a massive problem. I hate to say it, but I fear he's taken us as far as he can. We sit top at league, Lloyd. How can the man have taken us as far as he can? You can't question his Premier League credentials before we even got there, surely. Michael says, Wilder has said his team were flat and tired yesterday. I just think the team had one eye on the derby at the weekend, the bigger game for the team. Shouldn't be, though. Shouldn't be. You get as many points for winning this game on Sunday as you would have done last night. It's flawed to me to look at it like that. But anyway, I'm going to call it there so I can nip for a quick wee before I go on Behind the Ramble. So join us over there in 2 minutes, myself and George Motson, for the Leeds versus Millwall. Huge game. Come on, the Millwall. Oh, should we be relying on other teams? I'm not bothered if we should or we shouldn't, because we are. Come on, Millwall. Let's hope they come and do something against Leeds. And how funny would that be? A Millwall victory tonight. Oh, anyway, thank you to everybody for whether you've called in, whether you've commented, whether you've just watched along and laughed at me losing my head in first half and hopefully coming back to a more sane understanding in the second. Thank you to everybody. It's very much appreciated what you do for this channel. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. See you on Behind the Ramble in 2 minutes. Up the Blade!